Hey everyone, how's it going? My name is Grassy, and welcome to the Weapon Procedural Recoil series. We are on part 3 now. Again, like I said in my previous videos, I am trying to get through this as fast as I can, but also as in-depth as I can for you guys, so you guys really know what's going on. So, we have actually finished the first-person character blueprint part of it, so we've got our procedural recoil system, and we'll go a quick overview on this. So what we're doing is we're simply, as soon as we shoot our gun, we want to set the random float values for our gun that we want it to turn in or move back in. We want it to be random each time. So it's going to set those random values, and on my actual first person shooter game, I've got these values linked to my current weapon that I have as an actor. So then what you can do is that for each gun, you can make these minimum and maximum values what you want, and then you can simply go and make these variables and plug these straight in, and that will allow you to then have different recoil patterns using the even though you're using the same curve, it'll be a similar recoil pattern, but you can make them more aggressive depending on what gun you have. So for example, on my pistol, I have it where the roll is or the recoil roll is always going to make sure it goes up. So it's going to start off with like, I think 2, and then it'll go to like 4, and it's a lot more aggressive, or goes further back, so the pistol shoots more like rolling back towards you, because that's usually how when you shoot a pistol. But for an AK, it's more just going back. It doesn't have much of a rolling up and down. And then what we're doing is we're getting our timeline, and if we go into here, you can see what we're doing is it's simply just going and giving us an alpha based on these timelines. So it's going up and then back down and then back into the middle. Same thing for our rotation. So these are basically how you would have like an animation graph in Blender when you're animating stuff. This is just another way of animating stuff. So it allows us to use floats, curves, to make it more realistic, and you can add as many keyframes as you want in here to give it more wiggles at the end, and changes around to make it as realistic as you want. And then what we are doing is we are simply lerping, meaning going from value A to value B and back to value A, depending on whatever this recoil or these float values are. And the value B will be based on these random values. So if you see, if we go back into here, our 0 or our A is just going to be 0, and B will be weapon recoil Y. This is for our position, and our alpha will be based on this recoil Y. We go into here, you can see 1 will be B, so that's going to be a random value. So it will start from 0 and it will slowly make its way up to our value of B, and then it will make its way back down past 0, and then it will go back to 0. And that's why it gives that nice, it looks a lot more realistic than just using and not using timelines and curves. And then we're doing the exact same thing for the rotation. Awesome. So now that we've got that covered, so if we go to here, we want to get off our sequence another pin. So I've already got one set up here, so you just want to go add pin, pull it off, and actually hold on, we're going to make our procedural recoil interp function. So what you want to do is you want to go procedural recoil interp, that's what we want to call it. You just want to go add new function and call it that. Okay, once you do, you want to go into it. Awesome. So now you don't want any inputs or outputs. We're doing everything inside here, and what we are simply doing is, if I pull this off to the side here, okay, what we are doing is we are interping. Okay, so I'll explain what's going on here on the way. So we want to create a new variable, or 2 new variables, similar to our weapon target pos and target rot, but instead we want to call it weapon current pos and current rot, standing for current position and current rotation. Okay, so we want to make sure we set both of these. Okay, and what we want to do is we want to go and we want to set our weapon current pos to this v interp. So you can type v interp 2. Same thing for the r interp 2. You just go r interp 2, and that will interp a rotator. Okay, and then what we're doing is we're getting our weapon current position. We want to have that as the current value that we're at, and we want to say, hey, this is our target position. So we want to get our char ref. So you want to pull off here like this and just go weapon target pos, and you want to do the exact same thing for the rot. Okay, like that, and that's gonna be our target. Our delta time is simply just get delta seconds. You're gonna plug that in, and interp speed is made at 15 for the position and 8 for the rotation. Reason why I made it 15 and 8 for the position, 8 for the rotation, is basically, again, it's one of those things that's based off the fine tuning. So it's just what I found kind of looks the nicest right now, but I can fine tune it to make it look nicer. Basically, the higher this number is, the faster it's going to go from our current value to our target. So if we have a higher speed, let's say we have 30, what's going to happen is that when we shoot our gun, it's going to move to our position, or it's going to move back a lot faster. It's going to be a lot snappier. The lower this number is, the slower it moves, meaning it's going to be a more smooth. However, what happens is that if you make it too slow, it might not move enough, because what's happening is that when you shoot your gun, by the time it interps to the, let's say you shoot a gun and it moves back. Let's say we've got the max value of, it moves back -5. What happens if it's too slow, it's going to try and catch up to -5, but by the time the gun goes back to its normal value, it won't have enough time to catch up to that -5 value, and it will start, while it's catching up to the -5 value, the gun's already going back to 0, and it's going to start interping back to 0 with it. I know that was very confusing, but the lower the interp speed, it can make it nice, but if you have it too low or too high, it can make it way too snappy and unrealistic, or if you make it too low, it can make it just, it doesn't look good either. So you want to you basically just play with these guys. That's all you got to do. Play with these. You might want to make the position a little bit faster than the rotation, because the position is just, you want your gun to kick back a little bit harder, but the rotation, you might want it to be a little bit smoother. But this is basically just how smooth the transition will be from your previous shooting position to the next shooting position. Okay, so what we're doing here as well, the current is going to be our weapon current position. You can see that's what we're setting. The reason why is because this is our current position. This is where our gun is currently. So let's say we shoot, our gun goes back. Okay, now it's going to go forward again. Okay, let's say we're doing this in slow mode. We shoot, our gun slowly goes back. Okay, and our current position is basically the position that it's at right now. So let's say we shoot it and it goes back. Our current position is now, the gun's now back. Okay, and our target position is where we want our gun to go to next. So what's going to happen is our gun, it wants to go to the middle. So that's going to be the target. And so it's going to go back to the middle. Okay, and then the interp speed is going to say, hey, how fast or snappy do we want our current position to go to that target position? But what is happening is that it's doing it basically on tick. And so it's doing it constantly. So it's going, hey, what's our current position? We're going to go to our target position. Our target position is, one float, 0.1 float in front of us or behind us or rotating, whatever. But that's basically what we're doing. And that's how you get that cool little system of, if we go like this and we shoot, what's happening is that if we just shoot once, you can see that our gun goes back and then forward. Okay, but if we hold it, our gun stays back, because what's happening is that we're constantly shooting, our gun's constantly being pushed back, but it's not repeating, because our animations are set up where our gun is constantly trying to interp. Okay, let's see if we go back here. Our current position is at the very back, and our target position is also at the very back. So it's constantly interping. There's not much of it doesn't have to interp that far. And that's how we get that cool little effect of the gun constantly staying back. And it doesn't look like it's being repeated. And the same thing with here. All you want to do is get the weapon current rot, plug it into our current. Weapon target rot, plug it into target. Delta time, you don't have to worry too much about that. It's simply just like the time of the weld. And you just want to get the weld's delta seconds. You just type get delta, not get delta time. You're going to type get delta seconds, like that. Just plug it into there. And then again, you want to play around with these interp speeds, guys. You want to play around, maybe try adjusting it, make it higher. If you want it to be more snappy, make it lower if you feel like it's just way too snappy, or you feel like it needs to be more realistic. I usually just put these underneath like this. And that's done, guys. Now what we want to do is we want to go to our event graph, simply pull off this function that we made, and just plug it into that new pin that we made. Plug it in there. That's done. So now we're on the last part, guys. You're going to go to our atom graph, and you made this left-hand IK. And remember I said everything that we do, the left-hand IK has to be on the very right of it. Everything has to be before the left-hand IK. So on the left of it, you just want to go and move these out a little bit like that. And you want to get this transform modified bone. So you can go transform, or you can even just type modify, and you can see transform modified bone. Okay, you want to get 2 of these. Make one first and then duplicate it. So you want to go and get it. Again, we want to go to our alpha. Just get rid of that exposes pin because we don't need it. It's just a waste of stuff there. We can actually do it to all of these. So what we want is one modify bone for our weapon current position, and then one for our rotation. How this is going to work is that we are going to modify the position of our spine 3, so the actual whole arms are going to move back. The reason why is if you just do it with like the right hand or the left hand, whatever, what's going to happen is that it's going to stretch it, and it's going to look weird when you're shooting like a pistol or something. It's going to just look very weird, and it looks very nice when you do it this way. So you just want it to be spine 3 because we want the entire arm set to be moved back. However, for the rotation, we want that to be the hand R. Reason why is because it's bones can rotate. It's fine if a bone rotates. That's why we're going to have it on hand R, because that hand R is going to be the one rotating it, and our left hand is going to constantly follow that gun. Okay. And if we rotate it, on the pitch or the yaw or the roll, it's going to look very nice. So let's set it up first. So what we want to do is we want to do this for the weapon current position first. So you want to go to your rotation, click that exposes pin. That's going to get rid of it because we don't need it. Same thing for the scale, exposes pin. Now you've got translation. Okay. Now for the translation, all you want to do is you want to go translation mode, add to existing. Okay, you don't want to do replace existing, just add to existing. If you don't know about add to existing, all that's doing is simply saying, hey, we want to add this value on top of it. So what's going on is that if we do replace to existing, 0 like this, 0, 0, 0 is where the hand's going to be. That's going to basically be the root of the character. If we go add to existing, 0, 0, 0 is going to be the character's hands or the character's current position. Okay. So what we do is that whenever we adjust this value, we're actually moving the hand in a certain direction. So let's say 0 is just whether it's resting pose in the Y position. When we make this, let's say -5, what's going to happen is that gun or that character's right hand, or the whole, in this case, the spine 3, the entire arms will go back 5 units. However, you had this add to existing, these act more as coordinates, not moving it in a certain direction. So you just want to have that as add to existing. We then want it to be parent bone space, not component space. Reason why is because then if we have it parent bone space, the forward direction for the actual spine is different to the actual whole entire character itself. So the Y position, forward and back, is I think it's actually X position is forward and back. So that's what the x-axis is. It's forward and back. However, if you have it set to just component space, the x-axis is actually left and right. Just how the spine's set up, whatever. But you just want to do parent bone space, and that's going to make sure that your x-axis is always dead center, forward and back. Y is forward and back, and then X is left and right. Just put out a parent bone space because then it makes everything consistent and work properly. After that, you just want to do bone and modify. That's simple. Just type spine 3. Click that, and that's very simple. It's just the bone that you want to modify or change, and that's it. So then you want to plug that in. See, I've got it here, and for the actual translation, all we're doing is getting our weapon current position. Plug it in there. Okay. Now we want to do the exact same thing for our weapon current rot. So you want to duplicate this. So you can just go Control D, and instead you want to get your exposes pin for the translation. Click that, and then you just want to go rotation and click expose pin. And instead, we wanted that to be hand R because we just want to rotate the right hand. Okay. And the same thing here, we want to make add to existing because we just want to add these values on top of our current pose. And then our component space, we want that to be parent bone space, I believe. We have it set up? Yeah. So again, this means that X is going to be left and right, Y is going to be forward and back, and then Z will be up and down. It'll all be the exact same and accurate. And then you just want to plug the weapon current rot into here, like that. And then set these up. So you just want to plug that local to component into here, connect these up like so, and then plug the end into your IK. And then that's all set up, guys. So now, go in here, you can hold it down. See now, you got your gun shooting. And see we've got those little variations all in it, like that. Then you can just tap it. So you can see it doesn't look the best when you tap it. That's just because I've been very lazy with the curves and how it's all set up. It's purely the values, guys. These values, the actual system itself is very good. The values will determine how nice these look. And you can see it doesn't look the best. It looks very nice when I spam shoot it. But again, if we go to here, it's very dependent on these minimum and maximum values. And it's also very dependent on these curves that we set up. You see here we go to these curves. These curves that we set up, it's very dependent on them. So go and play around with these. If you see here, if I actually play, what I do is, actually I'm going to go to my character. I'm going to fire this. I'm going to actually get rid of this. So it's going to constantly fire. Okay. I'm going to move this over here. I'm going to play. You see it's just going to spam fire, right? Now, watch what happens. You can see here, I've got my little curve here. Okay, let's put this here. You can see, where is it? This is the rotation. So this will be for the x-axis. If I move this down, you see that. See how much it moves? Go like this. Now, obviously, that looks very weird, right? Let's put that back down. Let's maybe move this back up a little bit like that. You can see we can actually move these up like this. Move it like that. You can see there's a lot more going on now. So these are very dependent. So you can see it does look kind of okay. Again, it does look janky. So if it does look way too snappy, then that's when you have to go into your, if I end it here. That's when you'll have to go into your character, go into your event graph, into your procedural interp. You can make the interp speed a variable. If you want these two to have the exact same value, you can just make an interp value and then you can just edit it in here. If it is too snappy, see I can go like this and I can make this, let's say 6. Let's say I make this 10. This will make it a little bit less snappy. You see how I feel like this? It's a little bit smoother now. So you can just see how these values here, which I'll show. So these values here, so the interp speed. Okay. These minimum and maximum values and the actual curve floats themselves. You will need to adjust these. Okay. These will determine how nice these animations look. Okay. And you can see just by here, adjusting it a little bit, you can see it doesn't look too bad. However, I can adjust these really nice like I've done in my first-person shooter template, or my first-person shooter game that I'm building. It looks very nice because I've spent a lot of time tuning it. So you can see there just how like easy it is and modular to set it up and how customizable it is to just change everything and make it very nice. And if you, again, like I said, if you have a pistol, let's say if I go to this, where is it here? Let's say I've got a pistol, okay, and I want that roll to be crazy, right? I want it to be 5 to 6, okay? Oh, okay, that's going, I put this on negative, so you're going to do -6, now that is 5. Just remember, because that curve, we made that X, just for organization, we made it go down here. It's going to be inverted. So we want the value to be negative. So if yours here is, mine's negative for the Y. If yours is positive and you're still getting the exact same results, it's probably because your procedural recoil is down here. Okay, so just keep that in mind, that whenever you do the opposite and you put these, let's say I swap these down, I put it down here, the values you're going to put in for these will be swapped. Okay, let's say we have our recoil roll. We've got -5. There we go. If you see, if we shoot, there you go. You can see it's going up a lot more. Obviously, again, it looks very weird. Okay. Now, if you do have any other problems, like let's say we can go to here. This is just more customization. We can go to our atom graph in our handy. We can go maybe component space. And let's see how that looks. Because again, these spaces are just the directions that these are going to change in. You can see here, if I go to here. This. You can see here, this is the direction of my hand. Okay, but change this to parent bone space. Didn't do anything. But let's put that to component space anyway. See if it changes anything. Yeah, so you can see there now, even though I made the roll, which makes it go up and down, it's going to the right now. It's changing it on the pitch, which looks very weird. And that's why I said to make sure that you use the parent bone space, because Y is always going to be forward and backwards, and X will always be left and right, and then Z will always be up and down. So that's why. So that's basically it, guys. So thanks for coming in and having a look. I know this was a very big series. This video is almost about 22 minutes long. So I will try and post all these all together when I can. But yeah, I hope that's all well. And if you have any questions for these, for this whole system, don't feel free to just leave down a comment and I'll get back to you straight away. You can basically ask me anything about this system, how to implement it into your own game. I'll try and help you out as best as I can. But yeah, if you have any problems in terms of setting up and how I've done certain things, look at my line trace video and that will show you how I set up all the weapons and stuff like that in this. Awesome. Well, thanks guys, and I'll see you in the next one.